so incredible that, the couple have sharing the same birthday. Can you hear me? All right, great. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming all, join us together. And I hope you celebrated Heavenly Parents' Day, God's Day on February 5th. That was right on the lunar calendar. New Year started 2019. So, wonderful. We have our, next week is going to be Foundation Day, next Sunday. So we're going to have another celebration this coming as well. It's going to be a live broadcasting on Saturday night. So I hope you can enjoy another live broadcasting on next Saturday. Well, today's my topic because of the Heavenly Parents' Day, which is really a praising God, God's Day. Wow. Have you heard any other country or maybe history of the United States celebrating Day of God? Wow, Day of God. Starting New Year with Heavenly Parents. Heavenly Parents, right? It's incredible. Well, that is why I think probably I would like to say, how can you know the heart of God? We're celebrating God's Day, then we kind of ask, how you doing, God? How are you? How are you doing? I know a pastor, Pastor Robert, who passed away recently, whose son was involved in a gang shooting in North Philadelphia. He was involved in the shootings and he got shot in his head. He was carried to the hospital. And there were all kinds of pipes or tubes and, were just sticking out everywhere connected to the machine. And Pastor Robert prayed for his son, please heal him. I mean, he has been involved with the gangs, and she was praying that he could be transformed becoming a Christian. Always just praying that my son's going to be a Christian, serving God, but he always been involved heavily in the gang, And he's been praying to God, please God, help my son. But the situation didn't change at all. So one, just like moment, she decided, ask God, how are you doing? God, how are you doing? That was one question he asked. He asked, how are you doing? After all, miraculous things happen. All the tubes coming out of his head were just pulling off one by one. Suddenly his situation get better. And he began to heal so fast, quickly. Not only that, but when he recovered, he became a Christian. He became a part of his choir team, her choir team, our ministry. Only question she asked, how are you doing, God? We've been praying all a lot of wish lists. Heal this. I need financial help. However, one question always forgot to ask, how are you doing, God? Amen. Simple question. And trying to find out, how are you doing? God went through according to divine principle. Or if you read the Bible side by side together, reading the Bible, Adam and Eve falling out of the Garden of Eden, blocked by the foreign soil on a tree of life. Simple story, but behind the story, there was incredible hope of God. First with joy that God created Adam and Eve, and waiting for the day where they'll become mature, and then they will lead the parents and coming together, all together as man and woman, and one flesh. God has been waiting for that moment for a long time, or not too long, I should say a long time. Then shattered because they walked away from God. Where are you? God knows exactly where they are. It was not about where are you, means in terms of physical location, where are you? Where are you? In terms of a heart, of disconnection. Disconnection. Even though my children in front of me, perhaps, sometimes I ask, where are you? Where are you? Pastor Robert asked his son, where are you, my son? This question shattered devastating shattering of God after losing their children, disconnection from heart, distant, big, huge gather between God and children multiply more like by themselves without really a blessing of God, just spreading. But all these children have not been reflecting God's personality, God's character, because they're not from God's lineage, perhaps. Jesus said, when you're facing scribes, you the brutal vipers. Wow, wait a minute, the scribes, the leadership of the Israelites, but Jesus called them brutal vipers, means that you all coming from the snake. Well, brothers and sisters, now here we are, God's hope. God never gave up on us. God have a faith in each one of us. God continues choosing the central figures, working on through the central figure, and never give up on humanity. And then God sent the Christ, Jesus, the Lord's second coming, and crucifixion. And another 2,000 years, a long battle, word, suffering of humanity. And today that we're in the age of Lord's second coming, or age of true parents. We're still waiting for the parents that Jesus had to set the foundation for third Adam and Eve. Jesus added a second Adam, and the Holy Spirit was supposed to be second Eve. Begotten sons and begotten daughter coming together, and then we're ushering and welcoming a true parents. Begotten sons and daughter must come to bring a liberation to God's heart. That God has been waiting for that lost Adam and Eve for so long. So knowing the heart of God, first of all, joy of birth of a child, and pain, devastating pain of losing a children, and then have a faith and walk on it, patiently walk on that children, and guiding the children, and eventually experiencing hope again, rebirth. Hope of hope and rebirth, and rejoice. I mean, rejoice. How can he do that? How can he keep experiencing it? Question is, how are you, God? How can each one of us get experiencing the heart of God? It's the only way I believe that we have to go through it. We need to go through it together. We cannot intellectualize it. I read a book, different books. Okay. This is how God. Is that? No, we need to go through it. We had to put your shoe in the same shoe with God, walking side by side together, and we began to understand the heart of God. 1984, when Father Moon and the Mother Moon lost one of their favorite child. I mean, they had so far by then, how many children? 12, 13, yeah? One of their favorite child. I mean, of course, everybody's their favorite, but one of them really, the one who loved parents, Hunjin Moon, my goodness. 18 years old, 18 years old. He was a young man with a thriving, with a hope, and really wishing that he's going to be a man. He's going to become an amazing child, amazing son, who was such a loyal and filial pious to parents. And he got in a car accident and he passed away. I joined my church when the Hunjin passed away. I didn't know. I walked into the church in a devastating situation. That church pastor was really the founder, or really the pastor who carried the international movement as a couple going through the devastating movement. Like Dr. King went to jail, Miss King had to stay home, worrying and praying in the fear bombs, the bombing, terror. Mandela, what about his wife behind? Mandela was in jail for so many years, waiting for his freedom. Like Father Moon was in jail, 1984. When I joined the church, yes, And he has to go. Because of what? Teaching God, coming to America, spreading the good news, that he had to go to jail. After lost his son, and 3 to 4 months later, he had to go to jail. And he asked his wife, Mother Moon, to lead an entire international movement in the middle of the devastating, still this overcoming this pain. Just lost the child. Not only that, but they lost newborn baby girl and years before that. But McKenna knew the only way to experiencing, the only way to sit down with someone who lost a child means sometimes we may have to go through it. I know one wonderful brother, Michael Iwasaki, and I forgot the last name. Mother's name, Iwasaki, I remember that, the same last name. But he passed away suddenly for no reason. I mean, in Clifton, he just had, they had the Sonwa funeral, Sonwa ceremony. And it was devastating. What can you say? But perhaps the parents can really understand the heart of God. Reverend Miss Moon, Mother Moon, they lost another child at the age of, the child was the age of mid-20. Another one at the age of 40. The parents always wish that I want to go, can I able to replace me? And I can, maybe perhaps I can go so that he can spare my children's lives. But they have to go through eyewitnessing the death of their own children. Still they have to carry on the international movement. People asking, begging, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Where are we going? It's like a Moses carrying the entire Israelites, asking, where are we going? In a moment of devastating situation, they just move forward, encouraging everyone. When Mother Moon was leading a movement in 1984, when they just experiencing losing a really wonderful child, still she had to encourage everybody, love God, love each other, unite together, work together. Let's go. Let's go. Can she going through the experience of what's like exactly like a God, and when God lost his own wonderful, wonderful Adam and Eve, and never gave up on humanity, but someday I'm going to restore them back to the original place that we will cherish and enjoy together as a family. Year 2019, the Summer Summit just held a little while ago in Korea at the Lotte Hotel. Looking back at the 30-some years ago, today Mother Moon is actually organizing a summer summit called the Security and Hope, Peace and Security and Human Development, and under theme 1,500 people, the 1,600 participants at the banquet. The 40 panel speaker, one is from Korea, of course, the deputy chief of the foreign affair. Another person from Japan is the former defense minister. And then, third person spoken was Newt Gingrich, the former House of Speaker. And then former Vice President Dick Cheney. And there were many other religious leaders and current head of states and the social leaders, and some of them are Nobel Peace winner, like really all sat on a the panel speaker table, 40 of them, and the 1,600 people here listening and questioning, answering. The Mother Moon galvanized it, bring all those peoples together. Wow. And she spoke to everyone a simple message, like the Father Moon has been speaking. Same simple message is this: we all need to become sons and daughters of God. She spoke in front of all this head of states and everyone. And we all need to become the sons and daughters of God. In order for you to become sons and daughters of God, we all need to change your, blood lineage. Means that we need a God's lineage. Change the God lineage through the blessing. We all must become the family members of one God. We all cannot, instead of seeking a difference in each other, but let us find a commonality in difference in belief and the colors and cultures to whatever ideology. Let us all come in together because we are the family of God. That was one simple message that she gave. In spite of all this difficult challenges but through that she understood what was exactly like what God went through. God's heart of joy, rejoice, and perhaps the suffering of pain, and plus endurance and all that, and all of us too as well. How? Once again, how? It's coming down to each one of us. How can we be able to find the heart of God? One of the best way, which I like to suggest to everybody, is to finding your spiritual children. Anitra Sanders, Baozi, she's not here today, but Baozi was out there on the street inviting people to Peace Starts With Me rally on November 12th. It was a couple of days before. I guess maybe that's it. We really cannot find, we did our best we can. But Baozi and a couple others said, decided maybe we need to go out there. Perhaps we can find somebody. Inviting people to this rally, Peace Starts With Me. And when she was standing there, this wonderful young lady just walked past by, and she walked towards the sign says Peace Starts With Me rally. Join us. She walked towards her to the Baozi Shimizu, and she said, "What is this?" Guess what? She hopped on the bus, and a couple of days later she joined with us. Besides that, she says, "I wanted to invite my spiritual mother." Woo! What a beautiful word. I want to invite my spiritual mother, not our physical mother, but spiritual mother to give her spiritual birth. I want to invite her. So both came together. Beautiful. She always talking about my spiritual mother. Wow. Such a wonderful word. Baozi Shimizu. And, wow. Father Moon, once she said, he's spoken, that was years ago. He says, you must become the national Messiah. Means a pick a nation. Pick a nation, like Mexico. You go there, and you serve the Mexico, and you must become the Messiah, or anointed one, for that nation. And Father Moon says, Mrs. Cardi, would you like to be a Messiah, national Messiah of a Paraguay? Well, Miss Cardi holding a little baby, Jacob, 3 months old. And we have a nice house here. We have a church, and we are pastoring, and we're pretty secure, and everything's fine. And I don't know, just leave it all that and go into Paraguay where we don't even know what's out there. Would you like to serve the Paraguay? And of course, Minister Cardi says, yes, I want to go. Leave all that behind. And finally, of course, it's difficult as a mother, but yes, I will. I will follow my husband. We will serve God. We will serve God, leaving all that seemingly important things behind, but I will serve God. And we are going to Paraguay. These testimonies are so important. My daughter Alina was going to Paraguay, serving that nation for 3 weeks, in a few weeks, as international volunteer. She asked me, Daddy, do you know anybody who has a testimony of a missionary, testimony of a missionary, how serving in the country, and we're looking for testimony for missionaries. And I can't. Perhaps you can ask Cardis, because they were national Messiah of the Paraguay. She was like, really? Whoa! I didn't know that there was a national Messiah in our congregation. That's a huge title. But you have to live up to it. That's the question. Title, easy to giving a title, but can you be able to live up to as a person to serve a nation? The people see you really like you are parents of a nation. Like a Mother Teresa. When you pass away, the nation of Paraguay will have a national level funeral for this wonderful couple, because they served the nation. They were with me. They saved my life. There were so many of the spiritual children out there saying, we're here for Party Family. Sugon Convery is always sharing joy of finding the spiritual children is more than what you give, but you receive so much more. You receive so much more besides perhaps the lottery tickets, I don't know, but besides you receive so much love, you cannot hold it, so you just have to give it. Give it to somebody else because you receive so much. It is about you. It is about your own personal growth. It is about your own happiness. The finding of spiritual children. It is about not focus on your problem, but focus on others. Having a spiritual children means that when you're looking for spiritual children or having a spiritual children, you are anxious, you're worried. How can I raise this child? How can I feed this child spiritually? What kind of spiritual food I can provide? And then you just have to kneel down and pray to God. God, help me to save this child. You don't have any focus. You cannot focus on your problem anymore. It is focus on others now. Finding a spiritual children means not just but for the future. My spiritual mother, I call her spiritual mother Misa. Misa Hukui was my spiritual mother. When I was into party at the Animal House or the White Hall at Northeastern University, Boston, I was a party animal together with my friends, my roommates. Yeah, man, let's go, man. Let's go, man. My hair sticking up with it. I was like, yeah, my dog, what we call it Animal House, because every 3 days, fire alarm rings and fire trucks come like 3 times a week. Because the people smoking everywhere, smoke detector just rang, and fire trucks come all the time, and people are partying every day, and live in a very devastating situation, which I was enjoying myself, but I was very confused. I wasn't confused, but I was enjoying, but I was very confused. What am I doing? What am I doing? And then one day, I met this wonderful lady, Misa Hukui, on the street. My friend, Misa Hukui has been witnessing to her, my friend. He says, and he and I walking after Chinese restaurant and walking on the street, and here it is, Misa Hukui was smiling, and with a red jacket, and Japanese lady, young lady, wow, how you doing? And my friend immediately, shake hand. He said, how you doing? And Misa says, I'm pretty good. And hey, guys, you want to come stop by? Just take a look at some video, or you want to have a coffee? He says, yes. I'm like, yeah, I'm going with him. Yeah, all right, let's go. Young lady, yeah, man, yeah. And then a couple of days later, I was in my room and I heard the buzz, and I heard the announcement. Hey, Shota Iwasaki, you have a guest? Wow, I went downstairs, and Went downstairs, and I saw this young Japanese lady holding a banana and apple. Like this. Hello, hi. Hi, Shota. Here's banana and apple. Here it is. For me? Oh my God. Wow. Hey, you want to come to, we have some talk happening tonight. You want to stop by? Yeah, sure. Well, maybe I have a little wrong motivation, but anyway, I went down there. And here it is, a month and a half later, I met God. I had a transformation experience. Means that transformation, the way that I really found my purpose in life, I met God. She'd always be praying for me, I know that. She's always been praying for me. She went through the birth pain. I don't know. Any man, please, if you went through the birth pain in your life, please raise your hand. Nobody, all the men? No, you didn't go through the birth pain. Really? No? No. Well, we try and have a birth pain. What's like having a child? Never really. It's impossible for us to have it. That is when mother is so incredible. My wife could talk to my children for 1 hour over the phone. All my children call my wife. All my children. Each one of them. But nobody calls me. It's very interesting. Like maybe I called me, because I can talk only for 5 minutes. How you doing? Where are you now? What's going on? And are you sick or are you doing all right? Okay, great, thank you. But my wife always can find the topics that she can talk all the time. She has an incredible heart of mother. Just never, it's like, do you know what time it is? By the way. Sorry, what time is it?
10:52.
Okay, great, thank you. So she, but hi, mother has a heart towards children. Well, how can you have a heart towards children? Is men too, we can have that. By having a spiritual children. Not just having it, but we kind of walk side by side together with spiritual children. Yes, it teaches you, because having a spiritual children means that not finding a joy, yes, the joy, but also there's a devastating feeling of losing them. At the same time, we're growing together with them. We're going through a journey together with our spiritual children. Back in 1985, as soon as I found God, I was very active. I found it sort of like I was doing out of dutifully, out of maybe because everybody's doing, so I had to do to what we call it witnessing, sharing Lord's second coming on the earth. You guys, come on, talking to students from Boston University, MIT, Harvard University, walking through the Harvard campus. How you doing, sir? Hey, man, what's going on? They're speaking a word of the brain is so smart. They can speak with a very high, sophisticated language. Harvard and MIT, but my university, Northeastern, they're okay. But the thing is, my goodness, I found Tanaka. My God, I still remember. He and I became good buddies. He and I were the same thing. We all went to school, high school in the United States, and he came to Northeastern, and he heard what we called it. He heard 2-day workshop. He attended 2-day workshop. Jeanette went. So many of us, who went to 2-day workshop last time? A couple others people went. Jeanette. By the way, have you heard Jeanette's testimony?
No.
Oh my gosh. That was like, everybody was like so inspired when she says, it was not I found you, but you found me. And of course, when we were right there with Chris was the one that met Jeanette, over at the Germantown. I remember that. The 2 or 3 are very high class lady, walking like going to a very high class, like a mega church or somewhere. They're mega church people. Maybe I don't know about that, man. But Chris just walked up to them and, hey, you want to come to the events in Madison Square Garden. And here Jeanette came. My goodness. Now she shared with us his testimony. You found me. Well, Tanaka was so inspired to the workshop. He was like, I found him. I found the Lord. Great. Very good. Yeah, right. My first spiritual child, Tanaka. Then 2 days later, he says, I don't want to see your face anymore. Don't come to me. I don't want to talk to you. You and I were nothing, Don't even call me. What? What's going on, Tanaka? What happened to you? Devastating. But how can I transform this feeling into joy? Only way is to place myself in the shoe of the Heavenly Parents, Heavenly Father. And then I finally understand what's like when God lost his Adam and Eve. When heart lost connection of a heart. I lost my connection with Tanaka. Even though Tanaka is walking every day, I see him on the street. I wave him, Tanaka! He's like, he just walk away. Tanaka, come on, man, how you doing, Tanaka? How you doing? He just walk away. Just keep on walking. God, now I know what's like. Now I began to understand what's like. What's like the losing your children. Joseph Suyun So. Joseph So was he was a youth pastor, youth leader of the biggest Catholic church in Seoul. I met him at the Dunkin' Donuts. We're just talking, we're just drinking coffee and doing homework. And Joseph So, he was like, hey, where are you from? I'm from Japan, I'm from Korea. Oh yeah. And we talk a little bit, and I asked him, would you like to go there? Hey, come to my dorm. And we spoke. And guess what? 1 month later, he found God. I found Lord. And he and I, we became roommates. We were doing things together. We are sharing, looking for spiritual children, what we call a witnessing. But guess what? Joseph is like 2 years older than I am. He's smart. He's like a chemical engineer. He's so amazingly great. Too great. His English is much better than I am. So when he and I were talking to somebody, he says like, hey man, talking to Joseph, man, you speak really great English. What about me? Joseph, man, you speak, man, are you native? Yeah, not really, but he speaks so fluent. I mean, he just came from Korea, but he's so fluent. But what about me? Everybody's saying, my goodness, what, you're studying chemical engineering, my goodness. He became the translator for national president of the CARP, all right, Korea. In front of so many people, and he was the one that brought some friends and guests over, and everybody was like, Joseph, man, amazing. I feel like he's my spiritual parent. Or I'm like his spiritual son, because he's so mature, he's so great, he's so amazing, and I feel like I'm so ashamed of myself. I don't know if you ever gone through this. Your baby boy or girl grown to become amazing. Too amazing for me, and I don't know what to do. I went through that too. My gosh, they're so good. I met Angus Anderson. He's been practicing karate. I see him in front of me so many days. And finally I asked him, hey, would you like to have a couple of comments? Come join me, man. Let's talk. And 1 month and a half, till 6 months later, he says, I found the Lord. But no from you, Shota. No from you. You promised me to be here in front of a train station at 2 o'clock. You didn't show up. You came late. I went there late, like 15 minutes late. Every time, whenever he sees me, I was really hoping people would share with others. Here it is, my spiritual father. No. He says, Shota came late. He's always not on time. He's not really like, but my Misa, the spiritual grandmother, is my like spiritual parents. Every time in front of everybody, he's a very not lovable person. But he's so, good to others, but not to me. Japanese brother, Hiro, that was my fourth spiritual children, who came by, who always stick his feet in front of me so that I can massage his feet. Always he's asking for me to do back row massage. Sometimes we sit on the floor, he always stick his feet, means that give you a massage my feet. And whenever I look for him, I couldn't find him when I need him, and I always find in a closet. He's watching the Terminator, one of those DVD, cassette tape. He's watching movie in the closet. I couldn't find him. Where did he go? He's always watching a video. You know what? I really, really appreciate finding a spiritual children, raising a spiritual children. It means it's really because what we're going through as your children grown to become adult, they acted exactly each one of my spiritual children, all right? It really helped me to grow my heart. Still I'm having a hard time because each one of them are unique and powerful. The restoring a heart of God is through the finding of spiritual children, or raising of spiritual children, go through the birth pain by praying or setting up conditions, because I cannot love this person who is speaking to others that, he shows up late. Or my spiritual mother it's really the parents of the Misa who could not show up in front of everybody, and am I still loving him? All right, no, I don't want to kill him. But the feeling of killing him, turn that into joy and love, is I have to do something, a praying or a fast. Many of Christianity spread and expand through the witnessing, evangelism, finding the spiritual children. But that's the really wonderful way. There are so many ways we can get benefit out of finding our spiritual children, leaving your testimony behind. Finally, at the conclusion, I had a dream yesterday. Sorry, this morning. In a dream, people are lining up, sharing their testimony one by one. Whether it's a great testimony or a very simple testimony. I woke up in the morning, I'm still alive. There are all kinds of testimonies. Simple ones to sophisticated, incredible ones anyway. But thing is, here is a Mother Moon sitting there, listen to everybody's testimony one by one, including mine. Mine was, I'm trying to find a testimony, I just don't know what to do. And he said, simplify, show that. He said, somebody told me, simplify your testimony. Very simple testimony. But she listened to everybody's testimony. Your testimony is whether it's great or every single day's simple testimony, but each one of them are a beautiful story in front of God. It is a wonderful that you can share that with God and appreciate it, and then keep that as a beautiful memory, as your collection of all testimony. Thank you, Cardi family. You just sent the beautiful long testimony from Paraguay. You sent it to my daughter. And my daughter sent me too recently. She says, she called me and we spoke over the 1 hour phone calls together. Sumi, my daughter, asked me, so how how did you find this church? How did you join? And I could have a chance to share with her for about 1 hour. She's like, thank you. I really need to hear that because now she are becoming the missionary. Her and 20 other people are, now they are working in the Dominican Republic and Paraguay, and also there are countries in South America. They are serving for 120 days to finding 21 spiritual children. As young as 18 to 19, 21 years old, they are finding spiritual children. It's not just for the country, it is benefiting them, it benefits all of us. But it will be really, they will leave an incredible testimony behind. Thank you, and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parents, today we're just really celebrating Chief Parents' birthday and God's Day, Heavenly Parents' Day. What a day. And one other topic, the one thing that I can really thank is to finding and searching your lost children, or finding and learning from your children, but sharing the blessing with others. Each one of us decided to be a blessing to others. And God just wanted to bless each one of us. Even though we said we had enough, God, but you're just pouring a blessing to each one of us. Because we decided to be a blessing to others. Even today and every single day, God is right beside us. Sometimes the people are looking for God, but God is right next to each one of. And you're right next to each one of everyone. Knocking a heart. This distance between two can be gap. Closing the gap. If somebody else walk right in, let the person know that God loves you. God's unconditional love is available. You're surrounded by already. Do not count how many mistakes you made in the past, but count how wonderful things happen in your life, and God is only cares about your future. Father, please strengthen us that we can become your left hand, right hand, left leg, and right leg. And truly, under your mouth, and your ear, and your nose, and your eyes. Thank you. And offer this prayer to you. And then with a short side, community side, as a central blessed couple. And amen.
아주